I've got a joke to open this entire story. What is the difference between Flint, Michigan and the USS Nimitz? Nothing, because the water is bad on both, apparently, as there's been leaks on social media, and now we're having confirmation from the US Navy as it looks like they've made an official statement. Now, I have to say, before we even jump into the story, is I'm having a hard time deciphering whose story is actually true and whose story is false. And I always believe there's the three sides of a story, but I think this will lead you guys into the comments and tell me what you guys think. Who is lying? Who's telling the truth? And first off, this starts with a message that says, "Keep this anonymous. I'm on the Nimitz. They knew about it as soon as it happened, but they didn't want to announce it because it would have gone into the deck and engineering logs. And the part about telling the crew at 2300 isn't true. They told us at 0400 the next morning. They have water buffaloes next to the ship provided by the base, giving us fresh water. They're saying it's safe now, but you can smell it coming out of the faucets." Then on another message, another person writes that you want to hear some absolute F. They're selling water. There's fuel in the water, and they're selling bottled water to people. This person says that's effing BS. BS. You guys should report that. That isn't going to do anything. And then here is actually a sample of the water that they were able to obtain from the ship and what has been viral essentially across social media. And as you can see, it looks like water has been separated from whatever this fuel is that's in there. And on top of that, there was another person that said, "I was just informed the USS Nimitz has JP5 jet fuel in the water on board the ship from a fuel leak they can't find that happened between 17 to 1800. And they failed to tell the crew till 2300, and so the crew was taking showers and drinking the water for 6 to 5 hours. Then they announced it again in the morning. A bunch of the crew is feeling sick, seeing as they didn't spread the word the moment happened." And to give you guys context, this is the water bowl, or the area where they're going to have water at. These are typically used for field units, not for a ship situation, but obviously they could pull these for that, and these will obviously suffice until they get these areas cleared out. Now, obviously, with the power of social media, this was running rampant as memes were going all across the place, kind of making fun of the situation, even though we all understand how serious it would be to be drinking some kind of fuel like this and how that could actually harm somebody. And we'll get to what the Navy says, but the memes are too good to just pass up. Mid-rats on Nimitz. Witch's hair for dinner. It's spaghetti with food coloring. Nimitz sailors after drinking JP5. Nobody. USS Nimitz. Somebody poisoned the water hole. This gets to the point of the story where we're now going to talk about what the rebuttal or what the understanding is from the Navy and some of their statements they've made which contradict this. Navy Times writes, "Jet fuel leaks into USS Nimitz drinking water system." This was on Wednesday, September 21st. Says Navy officials are investigating how traces of jet fuel got into the potable water system aboard the carrier Nimitz last week, cutting off the crew's drinking water for 3 days. On Friday, as the carrier was underway in the Pacific Ocean, fuel was discovered in the water and the system was secured, with sailors receiving bottled water, according to Nimitz spokesman Lieutenant Commander Adam Demeter. Potable water was fully restored to the ship Monday following a thorough flush and inspection of the water system aboard the 47-year-old carrier. In quotations, "The water on board the ship is safe for use, and the health and well-being of all of our sailors is a top priority," Demeter said in an email. While there have been some crew complaints about the water situation aboard Nimitz, Demeter said there have been no confirmed cases of illness related to contamination water aboard the ship. He says the Nimitz medical department continues to monitor our sailors for any potential symptoms, he said. He did not say how the fuel got into the water supply, but added that the Nimitz is quotations undergoing a full inspection of its potable water system to ensure the highest quality water is provided to the crew. After an historically long deployment that ended in February 2021, Nimitz entered the Puget Sound Naval Shipyard for maintenance. It was underway in the Pacific when the water issues occurred. So as you can see there was no confirmation if people were actually being forced to buy their own water. There was no talks if people were actually sick or dismissing that the claims that were made by these sailors on these posts were actually any kind of legitimate statements. And on top of that, we're seeing here that, nothing was really put into play as far as debunking the times and that timeline that sailors were discussing where they were not informed of the fuel being inside of this potable water lines. And because I wanted to do my research, I was like, I wonder what the USS Nimitz would say about this situation as their ship was being put in the limelight out here. But you can see here, September 17th, which was when this was going on, right? Hard work, back to doing what we do best. Nothing mentioned. Right here, September 17th, nothing mentioned. September 14th, nothing mentioned. September 12th, nothing mentioned. There are families at which there are sons, daughters, fathers, we could go down the list here, where they follow these pages to get information about what is happening to their loved ones. And imagine they go to this for the source of what is actually happening on that ship and they find nothing. It takes the USS Nimitz to actually make a statement once Navy Times, military.com, Task and Purpose, all these military media representatives to actually tap into this. I found that kind of troubling, to be honest with you. Now, I will tell you guys a little bit of the basics. Water is very important. Your minimum is supposed to have 25 gallons per person per day. That includes what it takes to cook the food, because you forget, you got to boil pasta. You got to also clean yourself. You also have medical spaces. You have all these very critical areas where water is a lifeline here. Now, it is closely monitored. They are going to do bacterial testing, and they make sure that there's amount of appropriate free available chlorine within the water. And that's to make sure it's healthy to drink, and they are tested. Now, obviously, with this, most of the crew is going to find out what the hell is going on. It tastes funky, smells funky, whatever else, and then further examination can be done beyond that. Now, this didn't actually, go without any criticism from our guys from back in the day, as it seems like this seems to be a continuing issue on every aircraft carrier that's ever been. And here's some of the statements from people in their experiences. Roberto Tobias Jr. says, happened many times back in the day. We always sniffed the water before drinking it. We took many showers with JP5 and sometimes with salt water mixed in the water. Never heard of anyone getting sick because of it, but you never know. Best wishes to the mixed crew, fair winds and following seas. Nemesio David Diego says, sounds like a normal carrier life. We had a CHT, which is like a holding tank of poop and feces and stuff like that, leak on the Lincoln for about a week, and they never told the crew at all. Only reason I found out was because I had a hull technician buddy of mine who informed us. And I understand you don't want to make the crew panic and things like that, but hopefully you put this in documentation. God forbid something happens later on in life where they're like, it was linked to the JP5 fuel that you drank back in 2022 on the Nimitz, and now you're getting a fat 100% disability check. I don't know, might be. You have to understand, carriers have several thousands of people that go to work there every day. So this isn't just like a few people were drinking this water or using it. This was a lot of people. Like I said in the beginning of the video, let's see where you guys lie on this. Do you think that there's more truth in what the sailors were reporting anonymously to social media? And, I could look at that and say they weren't looking for any kind of attention to themselves per se. Or do you think that this is something that the Nimitz might be trying to brush off as it's a big nothing burger, or, just trying to be more realistic with what was based on their facts versus this, underground that sailors can gossip around? Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. If you guys like this story or other stories I cover and you want me to cover something else, hit me up over on Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, TikTok, or down in the comments below. I love you guys. I'll see you next time.